Hello and welcome to every man, woman, transgender, etc. Fuck. Congratulations, you just triggered about half of the population within the first 10 seconds of your introduction. There's got to be a world record for that, right? Yeah, there's got to be. Let's have a look. Wow. There's nothing. Right. Okay, where was I? Yes, I remember. Whew. Oh, that was... right. Now that that's done, hello again, everyone. My name is Just Ben, as you have probably seen a lot of times. So before we start, I'm just gonna give you some introduction so that you can get affiliated with me. My name, if you haven't guessed it already, is Ben, and I am a male, I think, from Britain. And there's that's about it. There's not much more to. Oh. Sorry, something stuck in my throat. Anyway, introduction over. Now you know me. You've practically known me all of my life now. Now on to the main article. Today we're going to be reading a fanfiction. And a gay one, might I add. Just to clarify, I've never read this before. Also to clarify, the reason I am reading a gay fanfiction is not because this is what I like to do in my spare time. I promise. It is to sort of let you know what sort of a shit show you'd be in for if you actually stuck around. So, without further delay, let's get right into it. This story is called While the Girls Are Away, the Boys Will Play. So it's agreed. We'll meet back here at 2 o'clock. Come on, Velma. Daphne grabbed Velma's wrist and started walking towards the entrance of the Coolsville Mall. But I don't even like shopping. Fred and Shaggy started laughing as their friend was being dragged along. Like, I'm glad it's not me, man. I'm starving. Fuck's sake, we're off to a great start. Fred just rolled his eyes and headed back into the mystery machine. Come on, let's grab some food, my treat. Shaggy's eyes lit up, surprised that Fred was willing to pay. A half an hour later, with $50 less in his pocket, Fred and Shaggy walked out of Burger Heaven and towards the mystery machine. Like, thanks for the grub, Fred, Shaggy said as the two got into the van. No problem, but next time you're paying for your own meal. Fred started the van and headed back towards the mall. He had just spent about $50 on burgers. Astounded at how much his friend could eat, Fred pulled into the parking lot and realised that they had an hour and a half left before the girls would be done. So what do you want to do now? Shaggy thought about stuff they could do, but his mind automatically going to the gutter. Like, we could go to your place and watch TV. Okay. Fred pulled out of the parking lot and headed towards his apartment. Shaggy carefully moved his hand and gingerly placed it on Fred's leg. He waited for some type of response from Fred before he continued. Shaggy slowly moved his hand up Fred's thigh and lightly rubbed it. Fred glanced down at the hand and then over to its owner. Shaggy? Could you stop? I'm trying to drive. Like, sure thing. Fred was surprised that he stopped, but was still well aware of the hand still there. Fred decided to shrug it off and focused on driving. Shaggy waited a bit before his hand slowly inched its way inside of Fred's thigh. He felt Fred stiffen. Oh God. Shaggy smiled and then started to lightly caress over his thigh again. Fred gripped the steering wheel, trying to focus on the road. They were almost at their destination, but all Fred wanted to do was pull the van over and take him in the back seat. Oh, this is fucking great. He should have known better when Shaggy suggested they go back to his place. Just one more block to go. He could handle it. Hopefully. Fred parked in front of his building and got out. He walked towards Shaggy, grabbed his wrist and dragged him to his door. Fred opened it, and as soon as they were both in, kicked it closed. He pinned Shaggy to the door, capturing Shaggy's lips with his own. Fred's tongue traced over the other's lips, gaining entrance easily. Right, I'm just going to point something out right here. Where the fuck is Scooby? He's not here. He's not in this story. If I click on a gay fanfiction to show people what they're going to be in for, and risk my own sanity and safety, I expect the main character to at least be in the fucking thing. Like, Jesus Christ, man. That's all I ask, is the main character be in the fucking fanfiction. I mean, I don't want him to be part of whatever the fuck's going on here, but I am concerned for Scooby's well-being, okay? Leave me alone. The two shared a very heated kiss before Fred broke the kiss, gaining a groan from Shaggy. Fred grabbed Shaggy's wrist and headed for the couch, tossing clothes on the way. Fred's shirt landed on one of the orange lampshades, and Shaggy's pants landed on Fred's TV. They made it to the couch, never once separating their lips from the other. Tongues dancing and moans mingling as their hands roamed over every part of their mate's body. Fred pushed Shaggy down onto the couch roughly, breaking the kiss. He took in the sight of Shaggy, the way his chest rose and fell due to his erratic breathing, the way his eyes were glazed over with lust, the slightly parted pink plump lips, and his member standing erect. Fred wanted to take him right then and there, but decided he would have a little fun first. He climbed in between Shaggy's legs and claimed the other's lips once more. Fred traced Shaggy's lips with his tongue, which was easily granted access. The two danced with one another, causing the kiss to become very heated. Fred broke the kiss, hearing Shaggy groan. He started kissing along Shaggy's jaw, working his way down towards the collarbone, but then stopped right before one of Shaggy's pink nipples. I fucking love that. Oh, that's brilliant. Fred licked the pert nipple and blew over it, causing Shaggy to moan. He did the same thing to the other, getting the same response. He then moved lower, licking the creamy flesh along the way. Oh god. Causing Shaggy to writhe underneath him, stopping at his navel. Fred dipped his tongue into it and continued down south. His head was now hovering over Shaggy's member, which was already leaking with pre-com. Jesus. Fred ignored his weeping member and traced along his hip. He moved his head to the other side and did the same thing. Fred stopped and moved to Shaggy's cock. Fred stopped and moved so Shaggy's cock was right in front of him. He looked up and saw brown eyes staring at him, pleading with him. Fred opened his mouth and lowered just so he had the head in his mouth. He took his tongue and ran it over the slit, gaining a moan from his lover. Fred did this for a bit before he let go with a loud pop. Then he lightly blew over the head, causing Shaggy to gasp. "What's wrong, Norville?" "Like, cold," Shaggy whined. "Really? Then let me warm you up a bit." Fred lowered his mouth onto Shaggy's member, gaining another moan from him. He ran his tongue along the shaft, and Fred felt Shaggy tangle his hands in the air. What? He ran his tongue along the shaft, and Fred felt Shaggy tangle his hands in his hair. Fred bobbed his head up and down along the member, running his tongue along the slit, licking at it greedily like a lollipop. "Fred, I'm gonna..." Fred immediately stopped and lifted his head. "No coming. I'm not through with you yet." And before Shaggy could complain, Fred's lips were once again on his member. And before Shaggy could complain, Fred's lips were on his mouth once more. Fred broke the kiss and placed his fingers in his mouth. He sucked on them until they were completely covered in spit, and then moved his hand to where Shaggy's entrance was. Fred traced the hole with his pointer finger before pushing it in. He worked his finger in and out. Shaggy moaned and writhed underneath him. Fred inserted another finger, working the two in and out of Shaggy, scissoring them. "Freddy!" Fred found what he was looking for. He hit Shaggy's prostate again, gaining another moan. Fred pushed a third finger in him, thrusting it in and out. He pulled his fingers out and grabbed a bottle of lube that was on the end table. Fred popped open the cap, poured the liquid into his hand and spread it over his cock. He lined himself up with Shaggy's entrance, Fred pushing into him slowly until he was fully inside of Shaggy. He waited a moment for Shaggy to adjust to him. Fred looked into those dark brown eyes, and without having to ask, Shaggy nodded. Fred pulled out until just the tip was in, and thrust back in. "Freddy, harder!" Fred pulled out almost all of the way before slamming back into Shaggy. "Zoinks!" Fred continued to thrust in and out of Shaggy, hitting its sweet spot every time. He took hold of Shaggy's member and stroked it in time with his thrust. "Fred!" Shaggy came all over his stomach, and Fred's hand and chest. Fred thrust a few more times into Shaggy before coming inside of him, and then collapsed on top of him. The two lay there, sweating and panting for a while, before Fred pulled out of Shaggy. Fred turned his head and looked at the clock. He sat up abruptly. "Like, Fred, what's wrong?" Shaggy asked, worried. "We have to pick up Daphne and Velma in 15 minutes. Fred placed a chaste kiss on Shaggy's lips, got up, located his clothes, and got dressed. Shaggy followed suit. Soon the two were there in the van and headed back towards the mall. Fred pulled up in front of the Coolsville Mall just in time. Velma and Daphne just walked out of the front doors and headed towards the van. Noticing all the shopping bags, Fred asked, "So how was the mall?" Velma huffed and shot him a disgruntled look.
"It was great. We ate and then went shopping. Velma even bought a new sweater. So what did you two get up to?"
"About 10 inches, Fred murmured. Shaggy began to blush and slightly giggle.
"What was that?"
Daphne asked. "Nothing," the two answered in unison. Fred and Shaggy looked at one another and just smiled. "Oh my god. Oh, that was really something. Right, okay." So, my thoughts on the story, since it's my first time reading it too. It's a very intimate and very well written story, I will have to admit. One criticism I do have for it is, where the fuck is Scooby? I need to know that he is safe. He is my boy, he is my everything, he is my man. I am not gay for Scooby, do not quote that. I swear to God if you quote that. So there you go. This is my channel. I hope you know what you're getting yourself in for if you actually stick around. But before you go, this is just an introduction video to the channel, so I won't actually be uploading for a bit, maybe a couple of weeks, considering I've got a lot of college work to catch up to and everything like that in my daily life. So it'll give me a little bit of time to think about what I'm going to put on this channel. Which I can almost guarantee you is going to be gaming videos if I have nothing else to put on it, but I'm going to try and sort of expand the horizons a little bit more. And as always, goodbye.